We begin Unit 11, solving square root equations, with flap 1 in our foldable, covering adding or subtracting radicals. We add or subtract radicals like we would adding or subtracting like terms. For example, 2x plus 3x. These are like terms, so we add them together and we get 5x. Remember, like terms are the same variable raised to the same power. We only combine the coefficients. Square root of 2 plus square root of 2. The square root of 2 terms are like terms. We only add the coefficients, the numbers in front. Treat square root of 2 like you would x in x plus x. The 1 is understood to be in front, so we combine the two 1's together to get 2x. Remember, 2x is the same thing as 2 times x. Let's look at square root of 2 plus square root of 2. Adding the imaginary ones in front of the square roots of 2, we get 2 times the square root of 2. Let's look at example 1. In example 1, the like terms are square root of 3 and square root of 3. There's an understood 1 in front of the square root of 3. So we just add the 2 plus 1 together, and we get 3 times the square root of 3. Example 2. The square root of 6's are like terms, so we combine the coefficients in front. Our answer is 2 times the square root of 6. Example 3. In this case, we have to simplify the square root of 80. 80 and 5 are not the same terms. Square root of 80 breaks down to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Putting this back underneath the radical, we have 12 times the square root of this stuff down here, plus 18 times the square root of 5. Notice I have two sets of 2's that I need to pull out. Remember, it comes out front, and we multiply it to the number out front. Take the second one out, multiply it to whatever is out front, and just rewrite the 18 times the square root of 5. Multiply these numbers together and get 48 times the square root of 5 plus 18 times the square root of 5. Now these two are like terms. So we combine the numbers in front and we get 66 times the square root of 5. Look at example 4. Notice that all three of those need to be simplified before we can combine them together. So 50 breaks down to be 5 times 5 times 2. There are two 5's there, so we can simplify the first radical, square root of 50, to be 5 times the square root of 2. The second one, 245, breaks down to be 7 times 7 times 5. There's a pair of 7's, so that will simplify to 7 times the square root of 5. And the third one is the square root of 125, which breaks down to 5 times 5 times 5. Again, I have a pair of 5's, and that simplifies to 5 times the square root of 5. So we put these new simplified versions in to replace what we had before. Remember, the numbers in front will stay out front. So I had a 2 here. It still stays in front of the radical. Here's my 3. It still stays in front of the radical. Simplify, and we get 10 times the square root of 2 minus 7 times the square root of 5 plus 15 times the square root of 5. The square root of 5's are like terms, so we combine the numbers in front, 15 and negative 7. My answer is 10 times the square root of 2 plus 8 times the square root of 5. Example 5. notice that I have the same problem. 20, 24, 180, and 54 are not like terms, and they're not simplified. So we need to simplify first. 20 breaks down to be 2 times 5, which is simplifies to 2 square roots of 5. 24 breaks down to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So I have 2 times the square root of 6. 180 breaks down to be 3 times 3 times 2 times 2 times 5. I have a pair of 3's and a pair of 2's. So that simplifies to 3 times 2 times the square root of 5. The square root of 54 breaks down to be 3 times 3 times 2 times 3. This breaks down to be 3 times the square root of 6. Plug these back up into the top for the square roots and simplify, and I get 10 square root of 5 plus 2 times the square root of 6 minus 6 times the square root of 5 plus 21 times the square root of 6. Combine like terms. I see the square root of 5. 10 minus 6 is 4, so that's 4 times the square root of 5. And the square root of 6's are like terms. Combine the coefficients in front, and I get 23 square root of 6. And I'm done. This concludes flap 1 of our foldable.